Most people on the carnivore diet think that the carnivore diet is simply about eating meat. Well, I guess that's where most of us start, but it's usually not very long down the track until we discover this thing is far more than just eating meat. There's something much deeper going on. Yes, you're eating meat, but you become aware that there's something happening deeper down inside of you that is bringing about a transformation, not just to your body, but also to your spirit and to your soul. Because real change isn't just physical. It's about who you are becoming as a person. In this video, we're going to go beyond just talking about eating meat and eggs. I want to talk today about how this way of eating can totally transform not just your body, but your whole life. Let me begin by speaking just a little bit more about that concept of body, soul, and spirit. These are three terms often used in subjects like philosophy or psychology even, theology. Different fields of study refer to them, but it breaks us down into three parts, if you like. The first part is the obvious part. It's the human body. It's the tent that we live in. The Bible refers to our body as a tent that we live in for a short period of time. And anybody that's been camping in a tent would identify with that sort of terminology. And this physical body that we have is subject to frailty. It's subject to sickness. It's subject to tiredness. It's subject to even to death. And our bodies interact with the world through the five senses, our sense of sight and our sense of hearing, our sense of smell, our sense of touch, and our sense of taste. And that's how we interact with the world through our physical bodies. The soul is the next part of us. It's what we call, I guess, the real person. The real you is your soul, your mind, your will, your decision-making process, your emotions, what's going on inside your head. You know, I was a funeral celebrant for many years, and I was always conscious when we were burying somebody at a graveside that we weren't burying a person, we were burying a body. And a body is quite different from a soul. We are more than just a body. We also have this soul, if you like. The real part of us that thinks and reasons and understands. It's where our values come from, where our principles come from, where our emotions come from. All flow from the soul, that real inner part of who we are. That's the soul. But the spirit level is one more level again. And this is the part of us that is divine, if you like. I don't know whether you've ever thought about this, but there's something divine about us. I know the Bible says when God made man, he said, let us make man in our image. Something similar between God and man. There was a connection there. I think of a little seedling. You see them out in the forest on the forest floor when you go walking, and there's this little green shoot. And you think, I think to myself often, I ask myself, will this little shoot survive? And the answer is an emphatic yes, so long as it's connected to the earth, because the earth is the source of life. And so the spiritual part of us is the part of us that recognizes that there is a power, there's a source of life, there's an energy beyond ourselves that we connect with. Think of a bed lamp for a moment. You look at the bed light and it's got a shade, it's got a ceramic base, it's got a switch, it's got a lead, it's got a plug on the end. This is really, we might say, the body of the lamp. But when we move to the soul part, the emotion part, the real us, that's the light that emanates from the lamp out into the room. But there is another level again, because without power, that lamp is not going to function at all. And so the spirit is really like the electricity that flows through the wires of the lamp so that the whole purpose of the lamp is made possible. You see, what happens in our spirit gives life to our body and our soul. You ever heard somebody use the expression, I just feel dead inside? Maybe it's after a tragedy or a period of intense grief or something gone terribly wrong, and you say, I just feel dead inside. There's no life inside of me. Maybe that's because there's a disconnection between you and the source of life, the source of energy. This is really, for me personally, why I believe in God, because for me, I cannot understand a concept that says life doesn't come from anything. Life must come from life. Energy must come from energy. Life can't come from nothing or a void. And so we discover life when we're connected to a life source greater than ourselves. Now, in my background and faith, I'm happy to refer to that greater energy, that greater presence, that greater power as God. I'm not fussy on the name though. If you're more comfortable and it's going to create less barriers, if we talk about the universe or about the great energy or any sense of a power beyond ourselves that we connect to. But I believe it's so essential because life flows from life. So let me just recap a little bit. Our body is the external, the physical, that which connects with the physical world through our five senses. The soul is the real us inside, that emotional and intellectual self within us that feels, that thinks, that believes, that accepts, that has emotions, that processes things. But deep inside of us, there is our spirit that connects to the divine, to the source of life, to the source of energy. Well, what's all this got to do with carnivore anyway? You see, I believe in the carnivore diet. We start with the body. We start thinking, I want to lose some weight. I want to get myself into better shape. I want to get rid of my diabetes or whatever. And that's a good place to start. And that's where nearly everybody starts on the carnivore diet. But it's not very long down the track until you discover that this carnivore diet starts to affect the mind and the emotions. And we talk about things like brain fog going away and mental clarity. We talk about carnivore calm. We talk about a sense of calmness and just a wellness in our spirit, not just in our body, but a wellness in who we are. We feel better. We feel more alive. We feel more active. We've got more energy. We've got more zest for life on the carnivore diet. But then if we let this process follow all the way through, as our life becomes less cluttered, we've simplified our life. We're only eating meat. We are feeling better. We've got mental clarity. Our life is much better than it was, and it's not very long before we start to ask questions like, what is my purpose? Why am I here on this planet? Where does my help come from? Where does my energy come from? Where's my real energy source? I love that verse in the Bible that says, I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? I think that's one of the most fundamental questions in life. And of course, that verse goes on to say, my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. I want to ask you today, where does your help come from? How do you connect with something greater than yourself? For me, it's often not so much a church or a religious place, but to me, it's ultimately when I'm paddling a canoe down a river. I feel that connection with something greater than I. I feel that I am connected, that I am part of. I remember paddling down the Murray River here in Australia just a few months ago, and it was a magnificent day, and I was reflecting upon the nature of the river, and the realization came to me that I am not just connected to the river, I am part of the river, and the river is part of me. There is that divine connection between all things, and the more we are connected to a power greater than ourselves, the more we experience His life flowing through us. This is why we don't just stop at eating meat, changing what we eat on the carnivore diet. We then begin things like mindfulness and meditation, things that are helping us heal our soul, our emotions within us, and we become more whole as people. But then we go on to another level where we start to delve into the spiritual, and we discover things like the fact that the earth has an energy to it, and we can walk bare feet on the earth, something I've been doing a bit of lately. And we discover there's a connection of energy there when we are connected, just like that little seedling, remember, connected to the earth, therefore life comes. So really, I just wanted to share these thoughts with you today and encourage you to think about transforming your life. You've started with the diet, and that is awesome. That's a great place to start. But then you can go ahead and transform yourself emotionally. You know, mental illness, things like these are huge. These can be done away with as we enter into this and we change ourselves, not just physically, but emotionally in our soul as well. But then we go further and we connect to a power, a connection greater than ourselves. And we experience things like, you know, as I said, barefoot walking, or maybe I've been looking at the thought of exposure to cold and ice baths and things like that. But there might be practices that you do that are different to mine that help you connect with a power, with a source of energy greater than yourself. So look, this might be too deep and airy-fairy for some people. I hope not. I'm just wanting to share with you these thoughts that I've been thinking about in the last few days and wanted to share with you. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about my 30-day experiment that I'm currently doing with what they call earthing, I will leave a link up above here to a video where I started this 30 days and explained what I was doing. But look, thanks for watching today. I will see you on the next video, and until then, hey, keep telling your story.